Joining us right now, the manager of the New York Yankees, and just hearing his voice is going to make me think of spring, and God knows we need that. And that, of course, is Aaron Boone. Aaron, Tiki, Evan, how you been?
Hey guys, I'm doing well. Yeah, we do need some spring. We finally got a little cold around here, so it's about time to head south.
And now you join us, because as a football fan, we had no Giants, we had no Jets, and now you have no Eagles. So did you want Sirianni out like a lot of other Eagle fans? What was your thoughts?
No. It was just such a weird year. I actually went down to a couple games, the last one being Buffalo, which was like kind of the end of the run. And it's just such a weird, like, for being a Super Bowl team and obviously backed up by a Super Bowl last year and having what you think is this amazing roster, like to see the team kind of fall off a cliff and being healthy, like they were widely healthy and just all of a sudden just stopped getting to the quarterback. And, I think teams started getting the ball out on them, so they couldn't get to the quarterback. Their linebacker play was not nearly as good as last year. And it just, I've never seen a team just go from the best team and what I thought was like the best roster to like one of the worst teams in the league, like the final 2 months. So it was a little sucked.
Boone, we had a bet whether or not you would throw the head coach of your favorite team under the bus. I said, as a coaching brother, there's no way he's going to do that. There's no way he can say, yes, fire Sirianni, because you know what that's like. It sucks to get that from people that you think are your friends or at least your colleagues or peers.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Nick's had a great start to things. So it's like, did the coordinator thing finally show up like that deep into the season? What exactly happened? And I am confident in the organization that they'll kind of get to the bottom of it and figure it out. I think Howie's great and their owner is awesome. So I think they'll figure it out.
They probably will, unfortunately, because all of us in New York collectively can't stand the Eagles, but they probably will. I'm curious, at the beginning of this offseason, because I was kind of surprised by it, Tiki was surprised by it, Brian Cashman came out, and he was like, you know what? I ain't taking crap anymore.
Right.
I'm going to start dropping cuss words. I'm going to tell you guys don't know what the hell you're talking about. When you heard that, were you like, yeah, Cash, go give it to him? What was your reaction to hearing the aggressive Brian Cashman?
Yeah, I think for him it was, coming to the defense of a lot of people that, he thinks are really good at what they do. And kind of, more often than not, you kind of wear things and you power through, but I think it was probably a little bit therapeutic for him to come out and try and defend things a little bit, because obviously, we're getting a lot of fire from a lot of different places, understandably. Like, we didn't come close to meeting our expectation or our standards last year, and we understand that comes with it, but there are times that you want to defend yourself as well. So I think it was a little bit of that. But I enjoyed the rant.
So Aaron, it's interesting because Evan made me break it down. Like, what's he actually saying? And you know what I said? I said exactly what you just said. He's doing that to make himself feel better, right? He's saying that because he wants to feel good about where he's going. So it has nothing to do with what he says, really. He just wants to come back at all of us. But one of the things that I think that came out of this offseason, or at least going into this offseason, was this notion that Aaron Judge was going to be, I want to say, more involved. I don't want him to be like Aaron Rodgers and, bringing his boys over to the team and things like that. But it felt like Aaron's opinion needed to be heard. How much has that been the case this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think especially once Aaron, he's certainly earned a level of respect, obviously across the game, but certainly within our organization. So I think once he signed long-term and became the captain, I think along with that, becomes, allowed for even more of a, we do value what he thinks and what he says, as we do with all our players, but certainly him and Garrett are guys that, we want to hear what they have to say. And when they have input, especially as we're, trying to put things together, and you want to get as much good information as you can from your different sources anytime you're making a decision. So I think they've earned a level of respect, and certainly a valued opinion within our organization.
With him, where do things stand defensively going into this season? With Soto, with Verdugo, is he most of the time center fielder? I know you said the other day he may play some left. How do you see the breakdown being for Aaron Judge in terms of where he plays in the outfield?
I see him playing a lot of center field to start, and that, assuming we have good health, and obviously we brought Trent Grisham in, who's an elite defensive center fielder as well, who is going to get playing time. But I do think Aaron, and he's excited and preparing to play a lot of center field, and then as the season unfolds and this pops in, all of a sudden those plans can change a little bit. But with that center field, I'll use the DH with him too, whether it's, in a perfect world where you're healthy once or twice a week, that gets Grisham in the lineup a little bit. That gets, Giancarlo a day off here if he's going well. And so right now he is preparing to get ready to play center field. And, I can slide him over to right, obviously, at any time. And you could see even some left field in there. But I think initially the bulk, I see him playing in center field.
And what about Verdugo and Soto? Because both guys have played both corners, left field and right field. Where are they going to be aligned?
Yeah. My lean right now would be to have Verdugo in left field and Soto in right. Just with our large left field, Verdugo's kind of demonstrated himself as kind of an elite corner defensive outfielder. So my lean right now would be left field, but we're also in January, so I kind of want to get down there and get a feel for everyone, where guys are most comfortable, and then, once you get into the season, what exactly are we dealing with roster-wise? Where are we? What makes the most sense to, get the most consistency?
Yeah, Boone, we talk about center field and how taxing it can be because of the gaps you got to cover, and it's just a lot for any athlete, but in particular a big athlete. And I wonder, you mentioned you'll use the DH, so I'm sure there'll be a handful, maybe a lot more than a handful of games where he's not playing the field. And is that a reaction to the injuries? And some of them are freak. We try to explain them away all the time. Oh, the wall in L.A., if that didn't happen, he wouldn't have missed all this time. The diving a few years ago where he cracked a rib or did whatever he did to his intercostal. Right? Is this a way to keep him healthy?
Yeah, I'm not as worried, and I never have been, frankly, on the center field stuff with Aaron, because, and I think the 2 years ago when he played the bulk of the 22 season, which was obviously an incredible year, was also one of his most healthy seasons. It does make me be conscious of, I do like to get him more DHs as a result of he is moving around more technically, but I also kind of make the analogy, and Tiki will appreciate this, I'm not putting him at running back. It's like, it's center field, and he's had just as many more injuries out in right field, whether it's running into walls and things like that. Right. So I don't worry about that too much. I'll be mindful of, and you can measure those things now, where how much a guy's running around and how that stacks up in a week where you're playing in a 10 game in a row, 11 game in a row. So I'll certainly be mindful of those things, but that's where, having the DH and being able to cycle him in there, hopefully is something that serves him and us well.
Am I assuming right that if Judge is playing left, that means Soto will exclusively be a right fielder, and that's a part of why Judge would move to left, that you wouldn't want to bounce Soto back to left field?
Yeah, I'm just not sure. Again, you make all these plans, and then all of a sudden one guy's missing here at the start, and another guy's missing at some point in the season. So I'm just going to kind of feel it out. We'll see. I don't want to move a ton of guys around all the time, but on the days Grisham's in center field, does it make the most sense? Let's say Verdugo has a day. To make most sense to move Soto over there or move Judge in the left. Those are kind of things we'll get a feel for. I've had those conversations with Aaron to kind of prepare him for it. He's ready for anything. But, that'll be something that kind of declares itself as spring training unfolds.
We're talking Aaron Boone, manager of the Yankees. So when you guys get Alex Verdugo, good addition. Obviously, he's been a solid player. I remember back to something in Boston with, like, Alex Cora benching him. And I think a lot of Yankee fans think the same thing. And I'm sure, you're managing the Yankees. You ain't worried about what the Red Sox are doing. Do you make a phone call and find out, all right, what the hell happened with Verdugo? Is this something I need to keep an eye on?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Alex has been on our radar for a couple of years. We've considered trading for him or even had conversations, I think, going back the last couple of years on different levels. So we've done our homework on that stuff and have certainly tried to talk to a lot of people about different situations. So at the end of the day, I think we feel like we're getting a very good major league hitter that's also a two-way player that can really play the outfield. And I feel like is just still scratching the surface of what he can be as a player. I think he's a really talented hitter. And I think, being from the left side, being in our ballpark, you might even hopefully see the power pick up a little bit. Not that I want him to go stretch for that because I think he's such a good bat-to-ball guy. But I feel like there's more in there for Alex Verdugo. And, hopefully getting over here and a change of scenery for him will be something that hopefully gets that out of him. But I'm excited. I'm really excited to have him, especially when I look right now at the potential of what I think our lineup's going to be and the different places I could see him hitting in the lineup behind certain people with a lot of traffic, and a guy that is really, really a tough out. We've seen it now for the last few years playing against them.
Are you going to play him against lefties every day?
I mean, I look at him as an everyday player now. Again, the makeup of your roster, you'll pick certain spots where, I want to get Grisham in there. I can get, when I have, Judge on a day off or in the DH spot, how does it all match up? So I do plan on him. I do see him playing a ton versus lefties as well.
Yeah, Skip, let's talk about the Soto. I don't want to call it a situation, but I will. But it feels like this could be just 1 year, and it makes you kind of have to be all in for 2024.
I'm sure Evan hopes it's 1 year. Huh?
Well, Evan keeps talking about.
I don't know what you mean by that.
He's renting in the Bronx and he's going to buy in Queens. Nonsense. So, but I mean, that's the reality. I mean, he could leave as a free agent. He wants to hit free agency. The number's going to be stupid whenever it comes out. What they're looking for. But what kind of urgency does that put on you as the manager?
Yeah, look, we knew when we traded for Juan, I think we certainly understood that this could be that he's a free agent at the end of the year, and obviously he's going to be in high demand and an amazing player. So we went into this kind of eyes wide open and knew that the package we had to give hurt a little bit to give up some of the talent that we gave, but we really felt like he's such a difference maker and such a good fit for our team. And we just felt like we had to do it, and hopefully everything goes according to plan. And he loves playing in pinstripes and loves being here, and it works out. But we didn't go into this necessarily just like, we went into it with, we feel like he's a great fit for us this year and gives us an amazing chance to be the team we expect to be.
Do you feel you need to kind of kiss his ass throughout the season? Like almost say, all right, well, whatever you want, man. Got to keep you happy.
Right. Sean has a no boo what is it?
The no boo policy.
No
Can't
boo
boo
policy for Soto, no matter what happens, all season long.
Well, at the end of the day, money's going to talk probably, And,
right.
Hopefully, we make it an environment that he'll like and that he'll thrive in and that he'll make all of us better. That's the focus, and we'll see.
We're talking to Aaron Boone. There's a lot of Yankee fans that are done with Giancarlo. They're done with the guy. They want him gone. They think he stinks. He's never healthy. And what I've tried to say, and I don't even know if you're going to buy into this, but I ask you, I brought it to Tiki's attention. I said, Giancarlo actually wasn't that bad last year against left-handed pitching. And if you treat him maybe differently than what he was 4 years ago, maybe you can maximize it. Maybe if he's the right-handed platoon against lefties, and we stop thinking of him as the guy from 2017, the year before he got here, he can be productive. Have you given that thought about Stanton of just treating him like a platoon player and mostly facing left-handed pitching?
Not yet. He and us have gone into the off season looking at it as there's certain things he knows he's got to do. I think just body composition wise, being an older player that's not older, in his 30s now, but that's had some of the lower body, soft tissue things that have come up. I think understanding that playing at a lighter weight is something that's going to really serve him well. I think it's foolish to count him out. Just knowing the competitor, knowing the drive, knowing what I know he's doing this winter to be ready for this year, to make sure last year doesn't happen. I would not put it past him at all that he goes out and has an awesome year, and that's against righties and lefties.
Yeah.
But you always, as the season unfolds, you see where you're at and you make adjustments as you go. But I still think he's got a big year in him.
Yeah, so two things. One, it sounds like he's going to lose some of those LBs, so he's going to be less muscular. Have you seen him yet? Like, what's he look like?
I have not. I talked to him again the other day. I know he is lighter. I've seen pictures of him. And the thing is, like, he's always in great shape. He's like low % body fat. But, as you get on the north side of 30 and you've had some injuries, it's hard to carry that weight on your frame. And I think he understands the importance of being lighter, and it's going to serve him well. And I know he's had an off season that's put him in a really good spot to give him the best chance to be successful. And we'll see him here in a short order in a few weeks.
And Boone, I'm just reading through the lines here. It sounds like you want flexibility with the DH. So what does that do for the Stanton plan? Like, where do you see him if he's not DH?
In a perfect world, he's playing. He is that option in the field once or twice a week. Giancarlo's that one guy that I'm certainly going to make sure I get him his off days. That day a week or whatever. But hopefully, in and around that, he's able to give us a day in the field once a week, and that just allows everyone. And I feel like we have the potential to have such a deeper offense and such a deeper position player group this year that having that little bit of flexibility will serve us well. And I do think he's in position to do that. But again, we'll see as it unfolds here, starting in February.
And the X factor to all of this is Jason Dominguez. Because when he comes back, here's what I read your answer. Your answer is, of course, Stan's going to play against everybody, you numbskull. But, hey, come June, July, Dominguez is back. Giancarlo can't hit right-handed pitching. I'm open to it. But when is Dominguez coming back? Can you get the Yankee fans excited? When are we looking? May 1st?
Your timeline's probably on. Like, we're going to make sure he's obviously all the way back and ready to play the field, when he is. But all I know is he's doing really well. The rehab's gone, as expected, and he's been down in Tampa actually, these last couple of months. So I actually got to see him when I was down there last week. He's doing great, and we'll see. Hopefully we're in a position that, a lot will happen between now and whenever that is in June or whatever that he's back. That the roster will kind of declare itself and hopefully show you what to do.
So June, that's the timeline. That's a right way to think if you're a Yankee fan. We're going to get to see the Martian in June.
I think we're putting it as he's on track to be ready in the summer, and that's how we're looking at it. We'll see.
Tell me the plan of some of the other young guys. I mean, Volpe we kind of know, but Cabrera, Peraza, like what's the plan for those young guys? How do they get playing time? I mean, obviously a lot's going to be determined by what happens in the spring, but what's your plan or thought around those guys?
Yeah, so right now, like in the infield, obviously, Rizzo and Glaber at first and second, and Volpe at short, and DJ over at third. So those guys right now are utility guys and kind of fighting for opportunities and playing time, and certainly in the mix, and guys that have experience now, so that if something is to happen, they could easily slide in, and hopefully, they continue to take steps, in their development as players, because we certainly think highly of them.
Will you consider leading off with Anthony Volpe, or does he still have to kind of prove more before you give him that designation?
Yeah, look, I could certainly see it at some point during the season. I don't necessarily see it at the start. I definitely want him to kind of get rolling, and hopefully, he's another guy. I'd feel great about the winter he's had and the adjustments and the makeup of the person, that he's going to make necessary adjustments to allow him to become, an even more advanced player this year for us. So hopefully he's putting himself in a position at some point to be in that mix. But I don't necessarily see that at the start of the season.
So
that leadoff spot is going to be, such a crucial spot, obviously, for us. But, in front of, Soto and Judge, however I line it up there, like, I want that spot to it's got to be a spot that's consistently getting on base. And I could see it being DJ. I could see it being Verdugo in some cases. I could see it being Volpe at some point. I could see Glaber popping up there. So I just want that spot to be, a place where we're consistently getting that, 350 plus on base. And if we can do that, I think we're going to be really, really, really scary if we can get some consistency out of that leadoff spot.
Well, I'll tell you what's scaring me, having to face Juan Soto and Aaron Judge back-to-back. Are you committed to Soto 2, Judge 3, or could you go back and forth with that during spring training?
Yeah, no, I'm not committed. I expect them to be 2-3, and one whether
right.
I don't know which one in front of the other yet. Maybe a lot of that depends on how the leadoff spot shakes out. Like, is it just DJ? Is our leadoff guy, and he's rolling and he's doing his thing. I love the way he finished the year, the last 2 months of the season, where he was getting on base a ton. So it could be him, or is it more of a rotate that leadoff spot, play the hot hand in that leadoff spot, and then. Because, this is for the first year in a while, too, we're going to have, like, really, really potentially good balance on our lineup with left to right. So
yeah.
I'll want to, kind of balance out the lineup. So a lot depends on who's hitting in that leadoff spot as to how I hit 2 and 3.
Does it matter, and maybe this is middle of January talking, and guys like me getting stuck on Baseball Reference, but does it matter that Juan Soto, because I would agree, like, I'd hit Juan Soto second. Now, I'm certainly never managing a baseball team, but my first reaction would be, and I've said it on the air, I'd hit Soto second. Right. Damn, man, he's got such a great eye. You got Judge protecting him. It seems perfect. And then I got stuck in a vortex on Baseball Reference where basically Juan Soto's not that good batting second. Do you look into that? Does that matter? That you see numbers like that? Is that a factor at all?
No. Well, I know in the past he has always had a preference for hitting third. I know he's open to doing either here, second or third. So especially when you're talking about that level of player, that level of hitter, I do want him to be comfortable in the lineup. So that does factor in. But I don't, for example, if he hits second and he hits second 140 times, I think that Baseball Reference page will change a lot, because I think whether he hits second or third, if he does it a lot, he's going to bang.
Yeah. Let me hit the rotation here, Skip, because obviously Garrett Cole at the top you're not worried about him, but everything else is kind of cautious optimism, and mainly because of the injuries with Rodon specifically, Nestor, who flashed and then wasn't available for a lot, and then Marcus Stroman coming in. He was banged up at the end of last year. I don't think it's a big deal, but the injuries are a concern. Like, how is that going to be mitigated?
Well, I would say one of the things I'm really excited about is Carlos Rodon right now. The winter that he's had, and I think, a lot of the things that he went through last year, injury-wise, scuffling performance-wise, just getting adjusted, being behind the 8 ball and trying to play catch-up all year. Finishing on a down note, I think has been really, really motivating for him. And he's had a great winter. He's been down in Tampa now the last few weeks, and I know our pitching guys down there are really excited with how he looks, and kind of like night and day from how he looked this time last year, which is really encouraging. And the one thing, I've told him, and when we went into the off season, I continue to have conversations, like, his ability didn't go away, and he's not an old guy. So I'm really excited about the potential there. The biggest thing I want him to focus on is making sure he's doing everything necessary to put himself in a position to be able to go out and post every fifth or sixth day and not get caught up in, I got to have my first start's got to be great. I got to go out and show this in spring training. No, I got to put my body in a position to be able to go to the post 25, 30, 32 times. And if that happens, I'm really confident that we'll see a really good pitcher.
Do you think Cashman gives you another arm or two out of the bullpen in the rotation? What's your expectation?
Yeah, I know we're still talking to guys about the bullpen and whether that's an arm or two, and obviously monitoring what continues to be out there, from a position player for that matter. But I do expect us to add something still, but we'll just see. We'll see how it goes, and I'm excited about our team, and if hopefully there's another piece or two to add, and we go find out how good we think we can be.
I got a vibe from you and Cashman. Tell me if I was reading this wrong. During the Yamamoto sweepstakes, like you knew something. Like you almost were like winking
he's going
at
to
us.
L.A. That was it.
No,
I took
the opposite. I almost had this vibe like you thought you had him. Like I saw the way you looked into the camera the once or twice you were on TV, almost like we got him. Did you think that? Was I reading you wrong? Was there an extreme confidence that you were going to land him, or was Tiki right that you kind of knew deep down he wasn't coming here?
No, I'd say somewhere in between that. I definitely thought, his interest was real. Our interest was certainly real. I think, the meetings we were able to have with him were impactful. And so I guess the last time we met with him, which was here in New York, a few days before he made the decision, he left and was kind of like, what do you think? And I was like, I definitely thought we were, one of the front runners or in that conversation. And, ultimately he chose the Dodgers. So hopefully we can meet up with him down the road and it works out for us. But he's going to be I think he's going to be a great pitcher, great kid, really, really actually good to meet him and be around him a little bit, and wish him success out there. But, hopefully we can meet up with them and have the last laugh.
Skip, last year it was such a disappointment from the fans. I think even from the organization standpoint. I mean, hell, we were on the show talking about fighting for 500, and it's not some place that you're used to. And you could feel the angst and the anger. Aaron Judge, even after the season, said some things got to change. Right? And recovering from that, well, I don't think it's hard because all you need is some health and some luck and some things of that nature. But there's something real to coming back from what you guys went through last year. How have you emphasized that? Both, internally, but also to your team.
Yeah, look, I definitely I like to think we go into every offseason hungry, especially because we haven't won it all since I've been here. So there's always that carrot that you're chasing, right? You want to climb to the top of the mountain. But I think the way last season unfolded and not making the playoffs, and I think a number of guys getting dinged up, and I think it's added fuel to everyone's fire. I think it's hopefully just added a level of sharpness to winter workouts and preparation to be in the best position heading into spring training. I do think that there is something to that, and we know we've got a lot to prove, and we're excited to go hopefully prove it.
Don't you think it's time to end this beard policy? Like it's 2024.
Guys, beard?
I'm sure you got some power to go upstairs and say it's over. Like, don't you think it's time to end the Yankee beard policy?
No, it differentiates us a little bit. And you know what? It's amazing how many guys. I have a winter beard going, not to your level, Evan. That thing that's going right now on your face, but I like to have the facial hair, and I prefer always having a little growth going. But there is something about like during the season being a Yankee and having to stay up on that, and I've even come to notice, honestly, like guys that you would think would have such an issue with it coming over to the organization. I actually don't hate it that much. So I'm sure at some point, someday, it maybe goes away. But for now, we're going to embrace it.
Now, I remember.
Go ahead, say it, Aaron. Not as long as I'm the manager of the New York Yankees.
I remember, and I was serious about it to a degree, though I love Tiki, that when Craig left, I was like, you know what? Boone should do afternoon drive with me. It'd be kind of fun. You could do both.
Right.
So I want to ask you that question sort of again. Our program director has left. You have listened to this radio station. Spikes out. Would you like to be the PD? And if you were PD, any immediate changes you'd like to make?
Well, you know what? I was listening to you guys a few weeks ago, and you were I think you were bragging about your state capital knowledge.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I did have an issue with a couple of your pronunciations. So what's the capital of Montana?
Helena.
No, Helena.
Really? I thought it was Helena.
You know what? I almost reached out to my pen pal, Carton. I was going to text you. It's not Helena. It's Helena.
By the way,
and I think Coach Brian Dable is Dable, not Dayball.
Yes.
You nail that Dayball on me all the time.
Dave. So we just call him Dave.
So the first thing you do as PD is yell at me for all my mispronunciations.
Yeah, we're going to tighten up some of the pronunciation.
Right. He says epiphany instead of epiphany instead of epiphany.
Oh yeah, I do.
Because it's like to him and not to. Look, Skip, we might be down in spring training. You know, the great Susan Waldman invited us to maybe come on and broadcast a game. If we do that, you got to come on with us. You got to do it.
Yeah, happy to. And maybe we can get out. I don't know if I told you. I played golf with Rondé a few years ago.
Oh, nice. Did he smoke you?
Rondé can stripe it now.
Yeah,
are you as good as he is?
I suck. I look good, but I suck.
Yeah, we had a great time playing out at his course. He actually hit a terrible shot on one.
Okay.
And ran into the clubhouse to change a club out and came out and then probably threw out like a 77 on us, and it was all good.
Well, that's what he does.
Damn,
right?
man.
When you know exactly what you did wrong and you could fix it right there, that means you know golf. That's not
yeah,
me.
I was like, he's real. He's a real player.
He can play.
All right, so if I get down there, we'll play some golf then, because Rondé knows everybody.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Aaron, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy the rest of your winter. Weeks away from spring training. Can't wait.
Thank you, Skip.
Yeah, great talking to you guys. Take care.
Be good.
Aaron Boone, the manager of the New York Yankees.